Today, we will be discussing the book Business Sutra, written by 𝘉𝘂𝘃. And as you can see on the slide, this book takes an Indian approach to management. And to take us through the key ideas and insights, we have Ishita. But before we dive deep into today's session, I would like to quickly take you all through our upcoming offerings and sessions. The International Women's Day is just around the corner in March. And keeping in mind the spirit of International Women's Day, we at 𝘠𝘆𝑦𝘆𝑚 have curated 3 distinct learning initiatives for organizations. Our first offering is the Inner and Outer Architecture of Women in Leadership. This is a 2-day experiential workshop which focuses on strengthening leadership capabilities. We can customize these programs as per your organization's needs. Our second offering in the bouquet is the 6 individual learning sessions, Intentional Leadership Conversations. This is especially designed for organizations that are seeking flexibility. We are offering standalone 2-hour facilitator-led sessions. Here you can choose the workshops that you want to be a part of, the mode of sessions, be it online or offline. And the third offering is the Gift of Growth. Now, this is a structured 3-month coaching journey, which is powered by certified volunteer coaches at low bono prices. This is open both for men and women, but currently keeping in mind the spirit of the month that's ahead of us, we would encourage and appreciate women to register for this session. And if you're interested to know more about these, I will post the link in the chat right away. There you go. To mark the occasion of International Women's Day, we also have something planned for the women leaders who are part of this Leader in You community. On 20th March, we are bringing to you a workshop on setting boundaries and work-life balance through graphology. And this session will be anchored by graphologist 𝘉𝘂𝘃𝘀. Apart from these, we also have some other sessions and workshops in the pipeline. Leading Without Exhaustion is a 2-hour experiential workshop by Mr. Krishna Prakash. Rooted in Indic wisdom, this workshop is designed to help leaders reduce inner friction while maintaining high responsibility. This workshop will enable participants to untangle identity from role, make clearer decisions, and lead with steadiness rather than stress. This workshop is planned for March 18th between 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And in case you are interested in registering, I will also share the link of this workshop in the chat. Last but not the least, we have a monthly leadership series, Once Upon a Leadership. For those of you who may be new to this, Once Upon a Leader is our monthly leadership series, which happens in the last week of every month. It's a reflective space where ancient stories become mirrors, helping us examine how we think, decide, and show up as leaders. These sessions are anchored by Shanti Sharma herself, who brings the stories and reflections to life each month. We have a second session just round the corner on February 27th, where we are exploring the story of Eklavya and Dronacharya. And through that story, we'll explore the question, what power comes with responsibility? And in our third session for the series, we turn to the Greek myth of Sisyphus to help you reframe endurance, not as burnout, but as intentional leadership. This session is slated for March 25th from 11 to 1. I will also share the registration link for our Once Upon a Leader series in the chat. In case you are interested, please register. So we are very excited about these offerings and the opportunity they create for meaningful growth and leadership development. And we are excited to listen from you all also. But now let's turn our attention back to today's discussion. To guide us through Business Sutra, we have Ishita with us. Ishita has spent the last 16 years working with leaders, teams, and organizations to drive both business and human growth. What really stands out in her work and is also her USP is her ability to align teams deeply with organization culture, ensuring that performance and values move together. Facilitation is the space where she truly comes alive. She designs experiences that move people beyond routine conversations into meaningful dialogue and practical problem solving. She's also a POSH certified trainer, bringing thoughtfulness and responsibility into every space she holds. We are really looking forward to the reflections and insights that she'll spark for us today. Ishita, over to you now.
Thank you, Sabri. Loved what you spoke about me. And yes, I love to bring people and their mindsets together. And I think specifically this is the reason that I chose this book today. It is a very personal idea here that uh, that that brings my energy, all my energy, to bring people to back to their values and align them to the organizational values. Thank you so much for the introduction, Asavri. So let's get started, guys, with this book. To start with, I just want to say that this is not a book that you want to sit and just read through in one go, maybe finish in a month. No, that may not be possible. Every chapter, every topic, every concept discussed in this book makes you reflect a lot of things from various perspectives. So I loved reading this book. I have read this, I think, 3 times already. And sometimes I go back to this book to know more about what I was thinking. And every time I find something new about this book. And that's that's one of the most amazing things about this author. I mean, every book of this author. So I wanted to share an experience with you before we get started today. So a few weeks ago, I was reading a book named Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. It's a brilliant book. This was a global bestseller. It's a Nobel Prize winning author, and his deep research is really commendable. In one of the chapters, this author, Daniel Kahneman, shares a story when he and his wife had gone out for 15 days international vacation. And during that trip, he met his co-author. And their research conversation during this international trip became so exciting that they decided to cut short the vacation and fly back to their country within just 5 days, and they just to start working. When I was reading this book, ideally at this stage, my focus should have been about his passion on this research, which means there will be a lot of intellectual inputs for me in the book. And I should have wanted to read the book even further. Surprisingly, what actually caught me was the first thought that I got after reading this story was international tickets. And this author decided to let go one side of airfare. I mean, I was thinking, oh, wow, this man must be rich. I can't afford this kind of loss. Another thought came then, how does someone get 15 days off? That kind of feels like a luxury of money, luxury of time. And most of the professionals do not have that. In that moment, I realized something very, very simple, actually. I wasn't reacting to the author's story. I was reacting to what I believed is true to me. I was also thinking about money, time, scarcity, the practicality. How can you cut short a 15 days vacation to 5 days? The same story had a different meaning for me and for the author. It could be because of the cultural differences or differences in our status, maybe even differences in our worldviews, could be anything. Instead of going there and finding out what was the difference, I wanted to bring about the uniqueness of this book today that we are discussing, Business Sutra, by Devdutt Patnaik. And this is where he brings the difference. The stories that he has used in this book are very, very relatable to us, something that we have heard about so many gods, demigods, and he uses those stories which we have heard since childhood to bring up some leadership lesson or business lesson. Even the name of the book, Business Sutra, Sutra means a thread that connects our beliefs to our leadership outcomes or our businesses. There's another interesting fact that the author talks about in this book is that many of the B schools come up with some Western concepts, which is shaped by their history, their culture, and assumptions about what success looks like to them. Often the success is looked at as a linear form. So you move up the ladder. There is no moving sideways, leftways, rightways. There is nothing like that. However, in our traditions, often we grow up with the concepts like family, collective growth, and stuff like that, which involves a community or a group of people. And that's where this book actually tries to expand our lens from looking for just ourselves to a group of people or a group of people with the same mindset, even the community. I am going to show you the various frameworks that this book talks about. In the interest of time, we may not be able to cover all of these frameworks or the concepts in today's session. But then I have written some of LinkedIn posts and articles about some of the concepts that I'm not covering today. And I will request Asavli to please share those two links in the chat. So people, you can go after the session, you can take some time to read those concepts, and these will really help you think from a different perspective, like this book tries to broaden the lens that we are thinking from. Yeah. The topics or the concepts that we are going to cover today are the ones that are highlighted in green. Yeah. So let's dive into the first concept that we are going to talk about. But before that, I want to invite you for a small reflection. I would love you to meet Ahilya and Meeta. They both are amazing, capable leaders. Both have very strong past performance records. Both care about results. And now imagine that they are under performance pressure. Ahilya responds to this pressure by increasing the control, which means she monitors her team members more. There are more tighter reviews, more sharper, more firm follow-ups. However, Meeta, on the other hand, she responds by increasing the conversation and collaboration. She is doing more mentoring, she is doing more coaching, more conversations with her team. And eventually both achieve the same targets. Now, my question to you is, what might be driving the difference in their actions? Akansha, you raised your hand.
It could be a variety of factors that could, drive the difference in their approach. One could be probably the way they were mentored, how their mentor approached when they were at a position as an associate or at an executive level. When they were there, how did their mentor approach? Then it can also be the way their probably again would be like a cultural thing, like you mentioned in the introduction part, right? That the cultural thing, so it could be that also. So these are two reasons that I can think of at the moment.
So if I can give them a word, it could be their experiences, the
Past experiences, yes.
And when you talk about a culture, can I say the values?
Values, yeah.
Okay, all right. Anyone else wants to take a guess?
Yeah, I was just about to say the same words, beliefs, values, and past experiences, adding on to what Akanksha said. What
Lovely.
they think would work and what had worked for them. And yeah, based on these, they come up with what they would deem as the best way to move forward.
Yeah. Vaishnavi used an amazing term called belief. Our values, our past experiences, good, bad, our worldview, even our culture shapes our belief. I may believe in something, however, another human who is sitting in another part of the world may have a different belief altogether. If I'm presuming something that it is correct, a right thing to do, the other person may not consider it a right thing to do. These beliefs are very particular to a culture, very unique to a culture. It could be same for many cultures, but often one culture brings a lot of belief about and believing which a human grows, which shapes how they are as a leader as well. So just looking at what else Ahilya and Meeta have to say. Ahilya also says her team feels exhausted because she becomes very strict and her reviews become very tired. And it's normal to have an exhausted team after a performance pressure. However, the Meeta also says that team understands the need of the hour, and I'm happy that they are trying to take the ownership of work that they have been allocated even during the time of pressure. Yeah, so the word belief is something that 𝘉𝘠𝑡 Patnaik, the author of this book, has revolved the whole book around. The first concept or the first thing that he talks about in the book is the 3B framework. He says that it all starts with belief, who we believe we are, which eventually leads to behavior, and the behavior eventually leads to the outcome. It could be a leadership outcome, it could be business outcome, anything. And this is the core concept of all the topics that are discussed in this book. Yeah. Let's take the same example of Meeta and Ahilya. For some reason, the organization suddenly decides that Meeta needs to be more strict. She is not the one who is who can just be talking nicely and getting the job done. What if her ways are not right? And to just make sure that Meeta acts just like Ahilya, the organization introduces tighter KPIs. They enforce within the KPIs that Meeta must do stricter monitoring, more structured reviews to get the job done. What do you think if such KPIs are introduced on Meeta? What would happen to her? Akanksha.
So there's going to be a serious mismatch in the style of working, style of management. Like there are different types of management that are there. Authoritative is there, dictatorship is there. Then there's a one where it is more cordial. So there are different types of management styles. So this is not her management style that is being expected from the organization. So she is going to have a very difficult time because again the values of the company is not aligning with the values that she wants to, manage her team with. So that's what I think would be the problem.
Exactly, and this might lead to more exhaustion, more burnout for Meeta as a leader. Yeah. Behavior. So what happens is that even if an organization wants to change the behavior of a team or an individual, even after stronger KPIs, they can't change the belief. It will just add to the exhaustion. And that's why you see the arrow which says a no, cannot go back to belief. There was a time when many B schools used to talk a lot about KPIs, a lot of talk about the behavior that if you incentivize people, they will work more. If you incentivize late nights or overshift, or what do they call that?
Overtime.
Time, then people will, just to earn more money, people would love to do that at the cost of family probably, but people would love to do that. However, a very Indian approach to management, even the new authors who write a lot of leadership management books, they also do not focus on the various KPIs. They do not focus on stricter rules and regulation, but then try to focus on the softer issues. And in this book, that softer issue is the belief system of a person that can drive any result if changed. Although it's not easy to change anybody's belief, but then there are few things that we can do to empower others, which we will cover in the further section. Yeah. Now this brings us to the next concept in the book called hunger. I would love to explain this beautiful illustration which I have captured from the book itself. The author shows this mountain. If you see that, it's a mountain which is 𝘉𝘶𝘴𝘪𝘯𝘓, the abode of Shiva, Lord Shiva. He lives there with his wife and children. Yeah, all the family members have their own pets. They have lions Durga's lion, they have Shiva's Nandi bull, they have Kartikeya's peacock, Shiva's rat. This, if you notice this carefully, this is like a food chain. Yeah, but in 𝘉𝘶𝘴𝘪𝘯𝘓, or in the house of Shiva, nobody eats anybody else. They are all living under one roof without harming each other. Imagine if this was a leadership team. No one claims his success at the cost of anybody else. But this is actually an ideal situation, and in nature, an ideal situation like this is not possible. Even the food chain in nature exists for a reason. The reason could be the planet, for the planet to survive. So we need a food chain. But what we will do is instead try to understand the varied type of hunger. What stops all these animals who live together from eating each other, and how they can make peace with each other to have a happy, healthy place to live in. Yeah. For that, we will do a quick case study. Yeah. We will read a short note about Ananya, an amazing girl. She's a senior manager and was asked by the CEO to reduce some operational cost by 12%. She did a thorough analysis, she did cut the waste, she renegotiated contracts and delivered a precise 14% reduction. What was the CEO's response? This is fine, but I expected more strategic thinking. Ananya leaves confused and irritated and thinks, I did exactly what he wanted. Why is he still unhappy? Now I want you to think and try to answer this question. What do you think the CEO actually wanted? The best part is we don't know who Ananya is and who the CEO is. So we can be wrong. That's fine. Shanti ma'am, you raised your hand.
Yeah, putting on a CEO hat. When I'm reading Ananya's situation, I'm feeling she's fixing, amending what currently is. And that strategic thinking comment makes me think I'm probably looking at something more from Ananya from a future perspective. What can the future of the business look like, and what can something, a radical change or something bigger rather than the small tweaks to the current business. That is what comes to me.
Yeah, could be the CEO is looking for some bigger changes than just achieving a number. Could be, yeah. Anybody else?
one more thing. I did exactly what he asked. So strategic thinking is not order taking. It is also about applying your brain to make it better. So probably when the CEO has asked, it is about some ideation that he has presented, and Ananya seems to have just stuck to that idea and delivered rather than thinking beyond the idea like a strategic leader. That's the second thing that comes to me.
Loved your second point, Shanti ma'am. We will come to it. Please hold on to that. Chanchal,
Maybe
you
he
raised your.
was expecting.
Go on, Akanksha.
Let
Please go
Chanchal
ahead.
finish and then we'll
Yeah.
get back.
Yes.
I'm just thinking when the head of the company asks somebody to reduce operational costs, I don't think they mean only in short term. So and I think Shanti kind of brought it out, and I can see in even over chat, and Nupur has pointed out. I feel what this CEO was looking for choices of how this can convert into a longer term strategy, something that doesn't just cut costs, but also looks at the way the company is running in a new way. And hence why probably he used the word, I wanted something more strategic, because we can talk about cutting costs, but they will always be short term. And cost is something, it says cutting waste, renegotiating contracts. And the moment the year changes or the time frame changes, it may not have the same impact. So had I been the CEO, I would have looked for something that changes the way we work, changes how people work, changes how efficiency looks. That's what's coming to me.
But this also about this question, especially for Shanti ma'am and Chanchal. This also speaks about that she did a thorough analysis and then she did cost cutting, the waste removal, and this is a good thing. She removed the waste or redundant steps.
He probably didn't have a discussion with the CEO. If I were a CEO, I would have expected somebody to say, hey, these are the things I'm looking at. So a conversation opens up a way of more than a sentence or a line. So I'm thinking that what is it that he was trying to say, what he couldn't say in that one sentence? And how would I open up that conversation, which allows me to see what does he really mean? We are not talking about a leader, we're talking about CEO. So perhaps what it means is, did it allow for enough room to think out of the box? And if I feel that no, it did not, I did exactly what he said, then it also shows, hey, probably I became too tactical in delivering what he wanted without really understanding what it really meant for the company. I don't know if it's making sense, but that's what's coming to me.
Yeah, so I'm hearing from you and Shanti ma'am especially, I heard that the CEO was looking for more of an ownership. He wanted
Yes.
to see the big picture, what Ananya can see right now from her place, and he wanted to do Ananya to do more strategic thinking. Listening from, let's hear from Akansha. Akansha, you were trying to say something. Asavri, after this, we'll come back to you.
So there's something called performance improvement ideas that is done by many companies. So what they are trying to do in that is every quarter somebody has to come up with something which is going to improve the performance or the process of anything and thereby improving efficiency. So maybe the CEO was looking for something like that which is going to improve efficiency and not something that is being fed to the person. Because if the CEO is coming and asking you that I want the operational cost to reduce, it should probably have come from the person themselves that this is how I can probably do something like this, like an improvement in the process. So maybe that's something.
Improvement in the process, which will again bring up some long-term thinking and more than just cost cutting and numbers, it would ask them to think the bigger picture. Lovely, lovely, Akansha. Thank you. Asavri, you raised your hand.
Yes. So I was thinking here, what is not clear is what is the cost cutting solving for? Maybe if Ananya could have pointed that out. Not in the short term, but also in the long term, and does it have multifaceted impact on the business?
Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful point of view. So what I'm hearing is, what is the impact on the business? CEO was understanding the impact on the business, but then Ananya could not understand. She was just taking the statement literally. When he says 12%, she gave him 14%, take it. But I did not understand what actually it is. Yeah. Now, thank you, Asavri. That was a lovely point of view. Now, this can be understood. There's a beautiful concept in the book titled hunger. There are different types of hunger, and the author breaks them down into three parts: hunger, the human hunger, and the divine hunger. Yeah, I just want you to take a look on the slide and just read the questions that it says. Animal hunger, are we safe? Human hunger, do I matter? Divine hunger, what is it all this for? I'm sure you would have already started joining the dots with the answers that you were trying to give, but we will still go and go into a little bit depth to understand these three types of hunger, starting with the animal hunger. Yeah. The animal rate more on the objective world. This hunger drives a behavior which is depending on survival, like food. Do I have food? Do I have safety? This is my territory. That is not. Do I have a mate to reproduce? There is no moral debate on things. For example, in nature, when one animal looks at another one, it does not think about fairness, the reputation, what are the quarterly targets or partnership, possible partnership. It does not think about this. The only point that that animal has in his head is, if I am in front of this creature, am I the predator or am I the prey? At the max, it can go and think about, is it a good mate? But then mostly they think about, am I the predator or am I the prey? Yeah. When in organization or somebody who is working or driven through animal hunger, usually you will see these people seeking a lot of praise from senior for any work that they do. They want a lot of credits on something that they create or they deliver. You will often see there is oversensitivity to feedback. They will take things very personally and not take it as a way to improve. A leader prioritizing peace over tough conversation is another example of such animal hunger. They are worried about themselves, their position, and everything. Often these people end up giving a tight control. There's a lot of competition, like a cutthroat competition. They try to avoid any risk or any difficult conversation. And because of all this, the focus remain always short term. Since you already started bringing the sutra to your answers to various type of hunger, so yes, Ananya was delivering her task through animal hunger. She thought, I have been asked 12%. If I deliver 14%, it will be great. I will be celebrated. However, like many of us thought that the CEO wanted more strategic thinking, she could not satisfy the CEO because she could not match that type of hunger. We'll also understand the other two types of hunger, like human hunger. For human, the world no longer is a predator or a prey. We are in a civilized society, and we have this beautiful thing called imagination. We have the ability to interpret, to analyze things. We can create stories about ourselves. Am I good here? What is my reputation in the group? What does this person perceive about me? And what do they think about me? Things like that. We have this kind of imagination, and we can join the dots here and there to analyze any situation. Now, this is the key factor that separates us from animals. We also have the ability to categorize people on various buckets: who respects me, who ignores me, who outranks me, who values my deliverables, all these things. And Here we try to create a hierarchy based on titles, based on status, based on approvals. Yeah. And some of the examples could be, was I acknowledged in the meeting? Why wasn't I consulted for this decision? Who took the credit of my work here? And does my manager see the efforts that I'm putting in this project? So all these things are often seen in people who are driven through human hunger. Another example, think of someone who might have a beautiful family. Their family is happy, healthy. They also have a very good job. They receive salaries on time. But somewhere, say, even having everything in place, that I'm still not satisfied. That is because they operate from animal hunger, but their human hunger is not fed. And that's why they still feel the dissatisfaction. Yeah, before we move on to the next type of hunger, Vaishnavi, I would love to take your question.
Yes, Ishita. I think Ananya was actually trying to satisfy her human hunger because she wanted recognition for her contribution, and she did do a thorough analysis of what had to be done. Had it been the bare minimum, like just working on one or two areas and meeting the target exactly at 12% or somewhere closer to that, and doing something that was only essential, then probably I feel she would have operated from the space of trying to satisfy the animal hunger. In my opinion, I think she was trying to operate from this space, whereas the CEO's expectation was something more. The divine hunger probably. He was trying to see if she can bring in more meaning to what is being done and why certain things are being done. Again, this is my perspective.
So
how I think Ananya had been operating, but yeah, I would love to hear from you.
yeah. So a person basically can have one or multiple hunger at the same time for different aspects of something that they are moving forward to or doing at one point in time. When you say that, yes, Ananya did a lot of research, she did a very good job in attaining the number. Yes, that was a part of the human hunger. However, the end goal, what she presented in front of the CEO, was more of a animal hunger. What exactly she was asked for, and that's why I would still consider that was more like an animal hunger, because she was running behind a number and not thinking anything beyond. She just chased a number. Lovely perspective, Vaishnavi. Thank you. Yeah. So this is all about the human hunger. We'll move on to the divine hunger. And like Vaishnavi said, yes, the CEO was operating from the divine hunger. Here, the author actually explains this very beautifully by saying the human even have the ability to imagine a world that is still not existent. Yeah. This imagination eventually gives rise to more aspirations. The desire goes beyond survival, recognition, to what we can create, how we can expand and contribute also. So these are often the things who are people who are operating from a divine hunger. The leaders who are often operating from divine hunger are often into this stage of instead of looking at the short-term wins, or the leader is trying to invest on capability building. A founder who trust long-term goals than just immediate profit making. A professional walking away from a high-paying job because it feels empty and following their passion. A manager who is mentoring someone, maybe in his team, maybe in another team, even if it does not bring any personal advantage to them. This is all feeding the divine hunger, which to have more security, more status, and eventually there is a sense of fulfillment for people to achieve. Now, going back, since we spoke about it a little bit, but then going back to Ananya's case, yes, she was kind of delivering through animal and human hunger, but then like we understood that CEO's hunger was a divine hunger. He wanted Ananya to think beyond the literal meaning of 12% and try to understand. However, we should also need to, we must try to help Ananya right now. So if you were Ananya, what could you have done in that case when a CEO would have asked you for a 14 or a 12% reduction? What would you do at that point in time?
For me, it seems I'll put on my coaching hat. Why is that important to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Akansha.
Probably had an open discussion with the CEO as to what was he exactly looking for, because the number is achieved, okay, but still he is looking for something more which I am not understanding. So trying to reach the same page.
Try to understand what I don't know. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, probably even before Ananya started working, she could have asked the CEO, what is the impact that we are trying to achieve or create through this reduction? What exactly do we want to achieve after we are able to reduce our operational costs? How will this benefit the organization, or what is the impact that we are trying to achieve?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Asavri.
First, try and understand what is it that the CEO wants to solve for. And if this is the only way, or if there's something else that can also be done, understanding the larger vision. And then taking steps accordingly.
Yeah.
That is what I would have done if I was Ananya.
So I'm hearing that Ananya would have asked more questions by trying to understand the CEO expectations. What is the bigger goal that Ananya doesn't know? She would have tried to understand that. She could have even aligned, she would have known about she would have asked about the strategy that the CEO is thinking about. She could have even pushed back. She could have even asked CEO to involve her earlier next time. So yeah, all these things are helping Ananya to move up the ladder, moving from a transactional space to a subjective space. And I'm so glad I don't need this slide because we all answered it. Now, moving from a transactional or a rational space to a subjective space, this concept is explained in the book with the process or the practice of yagna or yagya. Yeah. The process of yagya or yagna actually involves two major people. One is yajman and the other one is devta. It's the practice where you offer something to the fire, especially the yajman offers something to the fire, and in return the devta gets pleased and he offers the blessing and says tathastu. Yeah. I would also love you to note that we randomly don't things at fire. We don't throw human, we don't throw pencil, pen and all that. We have things, dedicated things that we throw in the fire, like ghee, which is used to ignite and stabilize the fire. The grains and seeds are offered to the fire, which represent prosperity, which could represent prosperity. I don't know, so I'm just guessing. So, so all these things are actually very strategically planned by a yajman so that the devta becomes happy. So only if Ananya chooses to ask strategic questions and offer strategic results, the yagna will be successful. And she will receive her tathastu, which is the appreciation that she is looking for at the end of submission. Anything else that you can think about that could be a Tathastu for Ananya? And which hunger will it feed for Ananya, apart from a celebration of her success?
If I'm Ananya, I'd love to know whatever changes I'm proposing, who and how are they getting benefited? What's the end outcome? So I'm not sure
which
whether
hunger
that is
will it feed?
divine by am I doing this?
Lovely, lovely. Any other thoughts?
Ishita, are you asking after whatever she did, what would give her what she wants to hear? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if Ananya would have chosen to ask more strategic questions and deliver what exactly the CEO wanted, what could be the Tathastu for Ananya?
So we are shifting the narrative, right? We are saying that had she asked the relevant question and had she changed her strategy to cut whatever.
Yeah, we just helped Ananya.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to
Yes.
understand
So,
because I'm kind of feeling a little lost.
all right. So in a few minutes back, we were trying to help Ananya, remember? Asking some questions for what she could have done. If you were Ananya, what could you do? Now, Ananya, that the CEO is acting, and to match his hunger, I have to act from divine hunger. So she started the out, think more strategically. She needs to think the bigger picture. She needs to have a broader worldview or broader view of the picture. So now Ananya understood that, yes, this is what I need to do. And she delivers the same thing to the CEO. What could Ananya ask as a tathastu, ask as a result?
So Tathastu is what the Devata gives your wish granted, isn't it? So in this case, what exactly would the CEO would tell her, or how would he reward Ananya? Is that what we're trying to answer?
Yes.
So probably he would say, well done, I really liked how you thought from a long-term perspective by understanding the end outcome. Probably he would reward her with a promotion if that is what she's been expecting, or implement the plans that she had suggested and ensure that it gets executed so that everybody benefits from it. That would be complete success to Ananya as well. What she had envisioned and how that gets executed, and the end outcome being achieved.
I don't know, maybe he would have said, you've gone beyond my expectation and this is more than we could have wished for. I don't know. Tathastu is never just a transaction. Tathastu is always something that deeply touches you here, that has an implication on your life. So Tathastu means Tatha Astu, so be it. And here the so be it cannot be that you match 14%. So be it is, oh, we are aiming for this as an organization and we are going exactly there in a much bigger way. So for me, Tathastu would be, you didn't just give me 14%. You gave me a map where we go to a much higher position, and not necessarily in terms of revenue or cost, but also the purpose of organization. So it could really mean you're leading the organization in a way where the vision of the organization matches. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, the Tathastu would be 10 out of 10, no, 12 out of 10 perhaps.
Lovely. Love the way you explain, Chanchal. So, and I am hoping that Chanchal and Vaishnavi, you would align this Tathastu even to her divine hunger of recognition, divine hunger of trying to achieve something or contribute towards something. Correct me if this is something else that is in your head.
That's what I'm aiming for. because divine cannot be a divine hunger is never just number. It is purpose. It is meaning.
Yeah.
It is value. It is much bigger than percentage than numbers.
Yeah, I agree. I also love how the author has mentioned transforming the workplace from a purely transactional rational space into a subjective ritualistic space. Now, the very word subjective is quite interesting. So that I feel is about the originality that the person brings in. And in this case, how can Ananya think strategically and come up with something that's her own way of helping the organization cut down on costs or whatever has been expected out of her? That subjective perspective is very interesting, and I find that quite new.
Lovely. If you like this concept, then there is a episode dedicated to this concept of our Thoughtful Tuesday series, which is on YouTube, where we take lessons from ancient wisdom and apply those lessons to solve the modern corporate challenges. Asabri, can I request you to please share the link of that Thoughtful Tuesdays in the chat? People, please take some time if you love this concept. That will really charm you. And of course, that will bring a lot of perspectives to think about. Yeah. Now we have helped Ananya enough. Let's change our roles. Yeah. Let's be the CEO for some time. How is the picture? How do you love the picture? This is again an illustration from the book. I love the illustrations of this book. Oh, I got a heart. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Yes, this is very amazing. I'll also explain why specifically I use this picture while trying to answer this question for you. So in the case of Ananya and the CEO, what can CEO do so that next time Ananya automatically thinks more strategically?
Give her a promotion.
Give her a
Yeah, looks
All right.
like
But will that feed her divine hunger?
no, what I mean to say is from a very operational perspective, when we were looking at the case earlier, and I'm talking from a more corporate language right now. Somebody who thinks tactical means is coming from a tactical thought, right? And if I am the CEO and if my people who are directly working with me are tactical, that means I am not tactical. Because one of the ways leaders lead is they lead by example. So if I have not been able to lead by example, if I couldn't show my strategic thinking through my work, then something needs to shift here. Have I been able to coach my coaches well? Have I been able to transfer that knowledge? Was I even looking at them as a BCP? So every time I'm looking at this conversation in my head, why is the CEO talking to somebody who's thinking so tactical? What did we miss here in the picture? Did we skip a layer? Did we skip training? Did we skip coaching? Did we have a wrong person? You know what I mean? Is it a startup? Don't we have enough experience in the system? All these, and hence why I said it's really puzzling me. What am I missing? What is it that's not seen here? So if I were a CEO, I would, one, am I showing my strategic thinking to my team? Second, is before I gave the task to Ananya, was Ananya even ready for this? Did I even tell her that this is her job profile? This is her KPI? Does she know that she's supposed to be thinking now, not operational, but strategic?
Okay, nice point of view. But I think I missed when you mentioned what would you do as a CEO to help Ananya? I understand the promotion was just something that you were just saying, but then what would you do to help Ananya think more strategically?
Send her for coaching.
Send her for
And
coaching.
training, of course.
Who else is a coach here? Chanchal, are you a coach? Lovely. All right.
Nupur. Yeah, we've got a few
We
coaches.
have Nupur here. Lovely.
Yes,
I
right
think
here.
Hi, Nupur. Yes, somebody was saying something. I could not see anything.
Yeah, Ishita, it was me.
Yes.
I think it was important that the CEO set the context first, which he missed. The context was not shared. So whenever there is something of this kind, it is important to set the context in the beginning, saying what is the current situation, where are we right now, and uh, why do we need to cut down on the cost? How would that help us? And what are the different ways in which it can be done, and how, or just ask the other person what can be done given this current situation? How can we sail through this challenge? So the context setting should have been done before he had asked or instructed Ananya to do what she had.
Now, after this time, when the CEO has already told Ananya that this has to be done, think strategically, this and that, for the next time, what should CEO do? Still give her a broader picture, still give her...
Context and ask her, how do we handle this challenge?
Okay. Ask more questions. CEO should ask question that what do you look at right now? Something like that.
Right.
Okay.
Give her a glimpse of what's happening and then ask her, what do we do?
What else, people? Akansha.
Taking from what Vaishnavi just mentioned, I think making Ananya understand that this is what our goal is, and you need to think a little more strategically that this is what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
So how do you achieve this is what your aim should be. And then, whatever steps are coming in, that's great. Whether it's cost reduction, profit increase, whatever it can be, that's great. But this is our goal and this is what we want to do in the long term. So, taking a vision like that, mentoring her, coaching her, as, Chanchal also said, coaching her and mentoring her in a way that she keeps the longer, vision in her mind while taking steps in the future.
Okay. Maybe giving her a context alone can allow her to think broader. Lovely perspective, Akansha. Anybody else? What, if you were the CEO, what can you do to make sure that Ananya is thinking more strategically the next time? Can he empower her by, of course, coaching will empower her. Can he also give her the authority, pass on some authority that he might have, so that Ananya feels more safe, more secure, owning the space while she gets any other work done? Yeah, we will look all these and put all these responses in two different buckets, which are explained in the book under the concept of Shakti and Durga. Yeah, Shakti literally means energy, but this is not limited to just physical energy. It is the capability, for example, taking from examples from Ananya's case, she had the ability to run cost analysis, manage teams. She's a manager, like the case study said, and deliver on time. So she has the capability, the potential. Shakti is also the potential, the inner potential, that she understands numbers deeply. She was able to realize a requirement, the talent, Ananya's talent to spot inefficiencies quickly, to see the patterns that others could have missed, the intelligence, that how supply chain decisions affect margin, and then try to find out where she can cut the cost. Yeah. Of course, her drive is also her Shakti. Her creative force to cut cost is also Shakti. Now, it is important for all the leaders to understand that every person in your team has Shakti. Ananya has Shakti. Even the CEO has Shakti. Shakti is the power, however, it's without a direction. And a power without a direction or energy without a direction can scatter anywhere. So that's where the outer protection of Durga comes into the picture. What is Durga? Durga represents organized or the protective power, protected power. It is the empowerment that Ananya needs so that she can handle and match the hunger of the CEO even the next time. So even in mythology, you will see the goddess Durga carries weapons in hands. Yeah, she is not really violent, but she is equipped to protect. Yeah? Durga is the power that has authority. She can, so taking some examples from Ananya's case, if Ananya is empowered with authority, she is empowered to cross-question any other functional director or any other functional leader. Will they listen to her? Has she been empowered like that? Or they will just say, who asked you to ask me all this? Or who asked you to do all this? Yeah? Ananya is unaware of this outer protection. Outer protection could also be, or Durga could also be a clarity. Is this cost reduction about survival? Are we in some trouble? Is the business not doing well? Are we making money? Can you pay out the salaries? Does she have a clarity like that? And one of us actually answered this. CEO can actually give that clarity, the background, the context to Ananya. The protection that she would need. If Ananya fails next time, even while thinking strategically, if she comes up with a plan, but she fails, will the CEO back her up, or she will be asked to take all the blame, or will she lose her job? It's also the permission. If the CEO says, I just don't want cost cutting, I just want to think like, I want you to think like this, that expands thinking. And again, this is something one of us already answered. It's also about the boundaries, that you can challenge the assumptions, whoever you are talking to make sure that we are cutting these costs. And it also is a responsibility, and you specifically using the word also, of course, empowering ourselves is our biggest responsibility, but also the CEO responsibility, head's responsibility, to make sure that they understand that they are being empowered by their seniors, by the people who want them to grow. Yeah, so basically Durga is the empowered capability. So many of us give answers like the CEO can give the context to Ananya. He can even give the strategic context to Ananya so that she starts thinking like that. She can give a better position, so she has a better view of the whole organization, which will empower her to think bigger next time. But Ananya in that case would also require a psychological safety to question various beliefs that the system has or the organization has. She may also require a mandate to think beyond just execution. So as a leader, the CEO needs to offer empowerment so that Durga can come out of Ananya and actually starts acting, and so that this hunger of CEO can be fed in the right way. Yeah, we understood a lot of concepts from the book. I would love to quickly summarize what all we covered today. We started with Ananya and her question. I did what they asked for, but they are still unhappy and I am frustrated. It initially looked like a kind of a performance issue, but when we dived deeper and understood various types of hunger, we understood that when we misread a hunger, we solve a wrong problem. And then through the process of yagna, we understood that it cannot be just a transaction. It has to be a strategic discussion so that the right outcomes are achieved. We also understood that within an organization or a hierarchical system, it is also important to ensure that somebody who already has a Shakti should be empowered with a Durga, so that they are not just capable, but they also have the viability, the visibility, or the right resources to perform that action. If you actually notice, all this is covered in our culture, and culture is shaped by belief. So if your team's culture says, don't question, don't ask any questions to your boss. Boss says yes, means it's a yes. Then the team's belief becomes, it's safer to execute. If a team's culture say that target matter more than thinking, the belief becomes, my job is to just deliver the numbers and I am done with it. However, if the culture says mistakes are punished, then what would the belief become? Take a guess.
No ownership.
Or don't do it at all.
No ownership. Yeah, that's what Akansha and Shanti ma'am says. Yeah. Stay within the line. Don't take ownership. Don't do it. Either you do it properly or don't do it. Touch it also. Well said. So basically, the belief drives behavior, and finally, behavior drives the business outcome. And this is the whole book. 𝘍𝘗𝘂 Patnaik's Business Sutra, where he talks about it all starts with culture, which feeds to our belief, which eventually drives our behavior and our leadership outcomes. Yeah, with that in mind, we are at the end of the session, but I really would love to know what's that one thing after this session that you will see or do differently from now on. I would request you to please unmute and share your thoughts. Akansha.
I think what really resonated with me was of course, the hunger part. The human hunger and the divine hunger, the animal hunger. So I think now when I am also looking for something, I'll also, introspect that, okay, where is this coming from? If I'm doing a job, is this coming from making it better, or is it just that I am trying to gain some recognition? So I think this is what I would do differently now.
Probably try to read between the lines and think through.
Yes.
Should I read them literally into what they're saying, or try to understand what is in their mind, what is the end goal people are trying to achieve? Beautiful. Thank you, Akansha.
Thank you.
For me, it will be being more mindful of the other person's hunger. I think I'm aware of my hunger, but may misread somebody else's hunger when I'm working with others.
Beautiful. Thank you.
For me, like I said earlier, I like that subjective ritualistic space rather than being transactional. How can I come up with something of my own that would help address the challenge in current situation, and how do I help solve the bigger problem? I like that part, and that would be my takeaway.
Keeping the bigger picture in mind. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Yeah. With that in mind, I would also request a quick feedback. People, please take some time. It is very, very important for me and all of us that you share. How did you feel this session was? Please scan the QR code. It will take you to Google reviews. Please write a couple of words on how you felt after the session, during the session, what new that you learned today. I named it as the Samudra Manthan. There are a lot of thoughts after a session that goes on in any human brain. I request you to please churn it a little bit and come up with something and share that with us. Please take time to do it. Meanwhile, I am anybody else who wants to share what is that one thing that you're taking away from this session and try to look at it differently. Nupur, Chanchal, Neha.
I think one thing that I'm taking away, of course, I love the analogy of different hungers, and it comes from, if we look at from other frameworks, it's very similar to Panchkosha or our Maslow's hierarchy. So, but what I'm really taking beyond that is how much we underestimate good communication.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I feel that, and the higher people go, I feel asking and clarifying and being able to be on the same page, we take these things very granted. Now we can give it a lot of words and we can make it look something very fancy, but at the core, the communication, just the relevance of communicating in the right spirit and not just in words, in spirit, how important that is. Because at the looks of it, at the surface, I really like your first slide where it said, I did everything he asked me to do. In fact, I overdid him. And yet what I'm getting is this kind of a response or a reaction that okay, but what's more? And that's where it hits me. When we don't communicate right in spirit, we lose so much in translation and transliteration. That's what I'm taking away.
Lovely. That reminds me of a beautiful saying, which is very simple, but has a very, very deep meaning, at least for me personally. It says, "Baaton se hi baat banti hai." Now I will add another word to it. Spirited baaton se hi baat banti hai. Loved it, Chanchal. Thank you.
Thank you, Ishita. It was a lovely session. If it's okay, I'll have to excuse myself, but I absolutely enjoyed each and everything. And I've taken the form. I will be filling it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I have another meeting. Thank you so much.
You take care, Chanchal. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Ishita.
Anybody else wants to share their takeaways? If not, then I am going to keep writing about some more concepts on this book until I finish most of them that I showed you on the slide. I would be happy to get connected with you on LinkedIn if we are not connected yet. That's me. That's my boss, Shanti Sharma, who is also here in the meeting. And we would love to stay connected, not just by LinkedIn, but also through various channels that we have. Feel free to scan this QR code and you have everything in one place to connect with us. I really appreciate the time and the discussions we had today, everyone. And it was really, it was your thoughts and the time that the thought processes that you all contribute that makes these sessions more meaningful. Looking forward to more such amazing sessions. Thank you so much, everyone.